Should you pay off your car early? Or should you save and invest? Here is how to actually think through it. If you have extra money sitting around right now and no clear plan for it, you are probably stuck in the same three-way tug of war that trips up almost everyone. Pay off debt, save the money, or invest it. And here is the thing that makes this genuinely difficult. None of those options is automatically the wrong answer. The right call depends completely on who you are, what your numbers look like, and what you actually value in your financial life. So instead of handing you a generic rule, I am going to walk you through a real example using my own car loan that I recently took on, show you exactly how I think through this decision, give you a framework you can apply to your own situation. Before we get into it, do you currently have a car loan? If so, what is the balance and what is the interest rate? Those two numbers are going to determine almost everything, the actual numbers, because vague financial advice is useless. Here is my situation. I recently bought a used car, nothing impressive. I was previously driving a 2006 Camry that had been my grandmother's, fully paid off, zero monthly obligation. That era is now over. My current car payment is $227 a month. The loan term is 5 years. The interest rate is 8.69%. The remaining balance is $10,719. And yes, having a car payment again after years without one is exactly as annoying as it sounds. So the question I am sitting with is the same one you might be sitting with. Do I attack this aggressively and pay it off fast? Do I just write out the minimum payment for the full 5 years? Or is there something smarter in the middle? Let me show you what the math actually looks like across different scenarios, because the numbers tell a much clearer story than opinions do. If I do absolutely nothing extra and just pay the minimum $227 every month for the full 5-year term, the total interest I pay over the life of the loan is $2,445. The total amount I hand over is $13,164 for an asset that was originally $10,719. That gap, the $2,445 in interest, is the cost of taking the slow road. You are paying nearly $13,000 for a $10,000 car. And the extra $2,000 plus goes entirely to the lender for the privilege of stretching out the timeline. Now compare that to paying off the car in 6 months. To clear the balance in 6 months, the monthly payment jumps to $1,786. That is a serious chunk of cash every month. The total interest paid drops to just $272. Paying it off in 6 months instead of 5 years saves $2,170 in interest. That is real money that would otherwise just evaporate into the lender's pocket for no reason other than the loan existing for longer than it needed to. So, why the interest rate is the whole conversation. Here is the mental model I want you to lock in because I genuinely think it changes how most people should approach debt decisions. Paying off a loan early is a guaranteed return equal to the interest rate. No market risk, no volatility, no waiting to see how a year plays out. Just a certain locked-in financial gain. When I accelerate payoff on an 8.7% loan, I am earning a guaranteed 8.7% return on every extra dollar I put toward it. That is not a projection or a historical average. It is certain. Now compare that to investing in the S&P 500, which has historically returned around 10% annually on average. Average includes years the market dropped 25 or 30% and years it ran up 25%. Some years it is a gold mine. Some years it is a gut punch. The 10% is real over long stretches of time, but it is not guaranteed in any specific year. The 8.7% from eliminating this loan is. Difference in certainty is everything when you are deciding where to direct extra cash. This is also why the interest rate is the single most important number in this decision. Not the car itself, not the monthly payment, not how much you like or dislike the vehicle. If my rate were 1 or 2%, I would not be having this conversation at all. I would pay the minimum every month without a second thought and funnel every extra dollar into the market, because the expected investing return would easily beat the tiny cost of carrying the loan. But at 8.7%, the calculus shifts hard toward payoff. That rate is high enough that eliminating it is genuinely competitive with market returns, and it comes without any of the risk. There is also something that rarely gets properly quantified in these analyses. Peace of mind and financial simplicity. Every fixed monthly obligation is a weight on your budget. When a car is paid off, $227 a month stops being a non-negotiable liability and becomes yours to direct wherever it actually needs to go. If income ever drops unexpectedly, fewer fixed expenses means more runway before things get genuinely frightening. That flexibility has real financial value, even if it does not show up neatly in a spreadsheet. So when is paying off early is actually the wrong move? Before you go sprinting toward aggressive extra payments, I want to be straight with you about the situations where early payoff is the wrong call. Because charging at debt without thinking through the full picture is just a different kind of dogwater financial decision. The first situation where you should not pay off early. If doing so would gut your emergency fund, I do not care how high the interest rate is. Destroying your cash cushion to eliminate a car loan is not smart. Life does not care about your debt repayment plan. The unexpected expense will arrive, it always does, and if you have wiped out your emergency savings to get ahead on a loan, every one of those events becomes a credit card moment. Now you are paying 20, 25, 30% interest on the emergency instead of the 8.7% you were trying to escape. That is a worse outcome, not a better one. Unless your emergency fund is genuinely massive, well beyond 6 to 9 months of total expenses. Do not touch it to accelerate this payoff. The second situation, if it would create real cash flow stress. Throwing $1,786 a month at a car loan while your budget is barely holding together is not discipline. It is self-inflicted financial suffocation. Yes, the 8.7% matters. But it does not matter enough to justify leaving yourself with zero breathing room every month. If the aggressive payment plan means you have nothing left to save, nothing left to invest, and no buffer for normal life expenses, the plan is wrong. Find a pace that makes real progress without making your financial life feel like a punishment. The third situation, if it would force you onto a credit card. This is a hard line. Credit card debt is, in my opinion, the worst financial trap available to the average person. Rates of 20, 25 or 30% that compound fast and are genuinely brutal to escape once you are in them. If accelerating your car payoff means any surprise expense hits a credit card instead of a savings account, you are trading an 8.7% problem for a 25% problem. Trade is catastrophically bad, and I would push back hard on anyone who thought it made sense. The fourth situation, if it kills all financial flexibility or creates serious anxiety. A $60,000 car loan that you are attacking so aggressively it dominates your entire financial life is not a healthy setup. There is almost always a middle option. Slightly more than the minimum payment, combined with continued saving and investing, that creates real momentum without the pressure that makes people abandon their plans entirely. Progress does not require suffering. Find the pace that is sustainable. 3 questions to ask yourself. Here is the decision framework I actually use to get through these dilemmas. Walk through these sequentially, and the right answer for your situation will usually become clear without needing anyone to tell you what to do. Question 1. Do I have enough cash to avoid panic? This is your emergency fund check. Do you have at least $1,000, $2,000, or $5,000 set aside and untouched? Can you cover 3 to 6 months of total expenses if your income disappeared tomorrow? If the honest answer to either of those is no, building that cushion is your actual first priority, not accelerating a car payoff. Without a buffer, you are always one bad month away from a credit card crisis, which is a far more urgent and expensive problem than any auto loan. Question 2. Is the debt expensive or cheap? Here is my personal threshold. Not professional financial advice, but my own operating line. 5% or below, I make the minimum payment and put the rest into the market. 6, 7, 8, 9%, I am leaning toward early payoff. 8% and above, I am paying it off as aggressively as my cash flow will allow without violating question 1. Your exact threshold may differ slightly, but the underlying logic is the same. The higher the rate, the more competitive early payoff becomes against the expected market return. High rates are worth eliminating. Low rates are not worth rushing. Question 3. Split the money instead of forcing an all or nothing decision. This is the question most people never ask, and they should. If you have $500 extra a month, nothing requires you to send it all to either the loan or the brokerage. You could put $250 toward extra loan payments and $250 toward investing. You could save a portion, invest a portion, and put a portion on the loan. The split is almost always an option and almost always under-used. And whatever allocation you choose is not permanent. Life changes, priorities shift, and you are completely allowed to adjust the strategy as your situation evolves. Locking yourself into one rigid approach indefinitely is unnecessary and not how real financial life actually works. My plan is to pay off this car in 6 months. The high interest rate makes early payoff the right call for my specific situation. My emergency fund is already established, so I am not rating that to make it happen. The mechanism I am using is simple. Whatever income my side hustles generates, after setting aside a portion for taxes, goes directly toward the loan. My regular monthly investing stays exactly the same. I am targeting between $2,000 and $4,000 a month in investments, and that does not change based on this car payoff plan. The side hustles incomes I am generating, doing things like this YouTube video, is additional, and that is what funds the acceleration. If it goes the way I am planning, this loan is gone by around September or October. That means instead of writing a $227 check every month for 4.5 more years, that obligation just disappears. Simpler budget, lower fixed expenses, fewer monthly liabilities, and yes, my net worth is going to take a visible hit in the short term when I formally add this loan balance as a liability on my tracking. Net worth is assets minus liabilities. So a $10,000 liability moves the number down temporarily. That is fine. It is a short-term accounting reality on the way to a real long-term improvement. So, the honest bottom line. There is no universal right answer here. Anyone telling you there is one correct move for every person in every situation is either oversimplifying badly or trying to get something from you. The right decision is the one that genuinely improves your position without creating new stress, new risk, or new vulnerabilities you were not prepared for. Slightly suboptimal strategy that you execute consistently for years is worth 100 times more than a theoretically perfect strategy you abandoned 3 months in, because it made your financial life feel like a three-legged hippo trying to sprint through mud. Watch your interest rate. It is the variable that matters most. Protect your emergency fund like your financial life depends on it, because it does. Do not let debt payoff pressure push you onto credit cards. And if you are genuinely unsure whether to save, invest, or pay down the loan, split the money across all three in proportions that let you sleep at night and stay consistent. Financial progress is just flexibility plus consistency held over time. Work that formula and everything else eventually takes care of itself. And with that, let me know what your plans are for your car payment based on your situation down on the comments below. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. I've been Alex, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.